Derek with ESFI World, and we are here with TSL aLive. First of all, thank you for joining us. So to start things off, tell us a little about yourself and how you got involved in pro gaming in StarCraft 2.
Hello, me TSL aLive. Nice to meet you. 저는 16때부터 게임을 했고요. 작년 10월부터 스타트를 본격적으로 시작하고 지금까지 계속 이어가고 있습니다.
His name is TSL aLive. He started pro gaming as of October last year, and he's been part of a competitive StarCraft 2 team ever since.
All right, so this is your second tournament here in the United States after the North American Star League Finals. So tell us a little about coming to the events in the U.S. as opposed to being in Korea.
한국에서의 경기는 팬들이 별로 호응도 없고 일단 관객들이 별로 없어가지고 매우 지루하고요. 경기를 왜 하는지 모르겠고, 미국에서 있을 때 게임하면은 일단 관객들이 뭐 게임 하나하나 플레이할 때마다 엄청난 호응과 그 흥분을 즐기기 때문에 엄청나게 경기하면서도 흥분되고 미국이 살만 나는 것 같아요.
He feels that in Korea it's boring, and sometimes he just feels like there's not enough excitement, and sometimes he even wonders why he's playing. But when he plays and competes in the US, there's exciting moments and the crowd cheers even when there are big plays made for individual matches, and he just feels like there's a reason to why he's programming, and he sees it here in the States.
All right, so speaking to that a little bit, obviously StarCraft 2 hasn't caught on with the fans in Korea as much as StarCraft 1 did. So what do you think needs to be done in Korea to help StarCraft 2 catch up not only to the United States and Europe and things like that in StarCraft 2, but also to the popularity of StarCraft 1 in Korea?
네. 제 생각에는 아직 게임이 나온 지 별로 안 돼가지고 없는 거로 생각하고요. 워낙 스타원이 오래되고 그 선수들이 밑바탕을 해줘가지고 이렇게까지 큰 것 같고, 저희 스타트도 더 재밌는 게임을 하기 위해 발전하고 선수들이 밑바탕이 돼주면은 더 큰 게임이 될 수 있을 거라고 생각하고 있습니다.
Right now, just StarCraft 2 isn't at the level with StarCraft 1, since it has such a large player base and such a rich history. But he feels like as more people learn to support it, and as more exciting games are played to attract a larger viewership, that StarCraft 2 can soon come to the level that Brood War is at right now.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about your play. In your first tournament in the United States, North American Star League, you lost a pretty disappointing season to the German Zerg Dark Force, which obviously had to be disappointing for you. So first of all, were you surprised by his play at all and his skill, or do you just feel like you played a poor series in the NASL?
별로 얘기하고 싶진 않은데요. 그냥 제가 못해서 진 거라고 생각하고요. 그 대회에서 바로 떨어졌기 때문에 제가 더 발전할 수 있는 계기가 된 거라고 생각하고 있어요.
He doesn't want to talk about it much, but he feels that he just lost because he was the worst player that day and he just played bad. But he also sees the good side of it, in that he sees it as an opportunity, since he dropped out early, to improve on his skills.
All right, how do you feel about the skill of the foreign players as a whole compared to the Koreans right now? Obviously, the foreign players haven't played as well as the Koreans, but do you feel there's a big skill gap there, or do you think it's something that's closing up a little bit more?
한국 선수들은 원래 스타원 때부터 잘해와가지고 스타2를 넘어서도 원래 비슷한 게임이기 때문에 잘하고 있을 거라고 생각하고 있고요. 해외 선수들은 원래 스타원을 별로 못하셨는데 이렇게 스타2로 넘어왔는데 다 워낙 잘하시는 분이 많고 실력이 금방금방 느는 것 같아서 그냥 흥분되는 것 같기도 하고 그냥 뿌듯해요. 이제 해외 선수들이랑도 많은 게임을 할 수 있을 거라 생각해가지고.
He thinks that since StarCraft 1 players in Korea are transitioning over to StarCraft 2, and that they're very similar games, that the skill sets are able to be transferred over very easily, and that's why the StarCraft Korean players are very successful. But he feels that if the foreign players practice more, and he feels that the skill sets are different as of now, but there could be more exciting matches in the future as they're continuing to improve.
All right, so coming off that disappointment at North American Star League, you've come to the IPL. What did you learn from that tournament that has helped you better prepare for the IPL3 and coming into this tournament to get better and play better at this tournament than you did the previous one?
NAS에서 제가 그 기대했던 것만큼 성적이 안 나가지고 일단 자만심을 안 하기도 배웠고요. 그리고 방심하지 말고 최선을 다하자는 걸 배워가지고 이번 IPL 대회에서 굳게 다짐하고 왔고요. 최선을 다하자는 그런 의지가 엄청 세가지고 그냥 엄청 노력하고 그런 쪽으로 가고 있습니다.
He learned after NASL and his shortcomings in that tournament that he shouldn't be overconfident and to take everything seriously. So now he's entered this mindset where he has to do his best no matter what, and that he should be trying his best to practice and compete in all stages of the tournament.
Okay, so talking a little bit IPL now, what do you think about the event just in general? Your general, I guess, thoughts on the event, your likes and your dislikes so far. We're about 2 days into the tournament.
네, 좋은 점은 일단 선수들 일일이 다 좋은 대우 해줘가지고 엄청 좋은 것 같고요. 다만 나쁜 거라고 말하긴 좀 그런데 갑자기 오늘 인터넷이 갑자기 안 돼가지고 좀 오래 기다린 감이 있는데 그런 것만 자제하면 뭐 나쁜 건 없고 다 좋은 것 같아요. 대회 이 자체가.
Feels that overall this is a very good environment for players to compete in, and he's very happy with it. However, the only hiccup today was, the obvious internet issue where, the internet went out for 7 hours. But other than that, he feels that overall it's a very good tournament to participate in.
Okay, speaking of the event, you went 3-0 in your group, taking out Huck, Stefano, and Boxer. Can you tell us a little bit about the games against those three players and how you felt you played against them?
다 이긴 거를 운이라고 생각하고요. 그러나 올라간 거는 그냥 당연히 나니까 올라간 거라고 생각하고 있습니다.
He feels that yesterday's wins are due to luck, but he also feels that he's a good player and that he deserves to be advancing in the tournament.
Okay. There are other really strong Koreans here as well, including MSC, Puma, players like that. What players in particular are you, I guess, the most scared of or the most fear playing in the championship bracket as we go forward? And is there anybody in particular that you really want to avoid?
이 대회 자체가 다 잘하는 선수들과 오픈 브라켓에서도 뚫고 오는 선수들이기 때문에 다 엄청 잘하시는 선수이기 때문에 다 힘들 것 같고요. 무서운 상대까지는 없고 그냥 다 붙어서 최선을 다하는 경기 저는 할 거라서 후회 없는 경기만 하면 될 것 같아요.
He doesn't have any names in general, but he knows that everyone who made it through the open brackets are truly strong players, and he feels that no matter who he faces, regardless, he'll try his best and try his best to win.
There are also a lot of very strong non-Korean players, including Idra, Huck, Thorzane, players like that. Do you feel that any of them have a chance to win, and which of those players do you feel like is the strongest here?
제 생각에는 다 해외 선수들은 다 거기다 생각하고 있고요. 그나마 어렵다고 생각하는 선수가 그 이지의 아이드라 선수랑 디마슬림 선수 그 정도 아니면 다 거기다고 생각해요.
He really thinks the foreign competition is whatever, but two players he gives a little bit of credit to are EG's the Muslim and Idra, so he says he'll look out for them.
Okay, so let's switch a little bit off of IPL and into your team SCV Life. You had Puma, who obviously left TSL to join EG. There's a little bit of controversy about that. What was that like for you and for your team to see Puma sort of leave your team and join EG?
그 호준이 형이 떠났을 때 저희 심정은 그냥 동료 한 명이 더 좋은 데 가가지고 더 잘하라고 그런 심정이었고요. 떠난다고 당연히 아쉽지만은 자기 선택이고 후회가 없을 선택이라 생각해가지고 그렇게 슬프진 않았어요. 그냥 동료 한 명 떠난다고 생각으로 그냥 아쉽다. 더 열심히 하지 이런 생각이었어요.
He felt that it was kind of sad that, it kind of sucked that his teammate had to transfer teams, but at the same time, it wasn't that bad because he knew that Puma was doing this as a choice for himself to better improve himself and to improve his opportunities as a pro gamer. So if anything, he took it as a note that he should practice harder and open up these windows for himself.
Along with Puma, you also had some of the other more veteran TSL players leave. Would it be fair to say that you've taken on more responsibilities as they've left? And can you talk a little bit about how the team's chemistry has had to adjust as those players have sort of have come out and you guys have had to step up and take their places?
선수들이 떠나가지고 제가 뭐 그렇게 마음이 흔들리는 건 아닌데 선수들과 감독이 마음이 안 맞으면 원래 떠나는 게 더 맞다고 생각하고요. 제가 지금 팀의 주장은 아니지만은 그냥 팀원에서 한 명으로서 그냥 최선을 다하자고요. 원래 그냥 저는 제 생각으로는 원래 제가 에이스라고 생각하고 있기 때문에 그냥 제 생각이고 뭐 아니라면 아닌 거지만 제 생각이니까 저는 맞다고 생각해요.
He says it's not the best to have, all these people leave your team, all these teammates, but at the same time, he knows that he has to do his best for his team and that even though he's not the captain, as a member of the team, he has to contribute his all, and he believes that it does fill some sort of role as the ace, and that whether or not you believe it, he does his best to help his team.
Also, in the TSL house, you've recently had the international player Major actually come and live in the TSL house with TSL house with you guys. So, can you talk a little bit about how Major has got along with the other players, both on a personal level and in your practice regimen, and what it's like having a foreign player live in the house with you guys?
메이저가 맨 처음에 들어왔을 때 19살이라고 해가지고 무척이나 놀랐고요. 그리고 연습은 많이 하는데 어차피 해외이고 같이 연습하는 것 자체가 기적이라고 생각해요. 이제 해외 선수랑 같이 이렇게 생활도 할 수 있구나 이런 게 엄청 뿌듯했고요. 그리고 걔는 어차피 이제 곧 떠날 애고 팀원이 아니기 때문에 별로 나쁘게 말할 것도 없고 좋게 말할 것도 없는 것 같아요.
First off, when Major arrived at the house, they were really surprised he was only 19 years old. And other than that, he feels that, it's kind of a surprise to be practicing with a foreign player now in the team house, and that even so, they're going to have to play against foreign players in the future. It's become that situation, that reality. But all in all, since he's going to leave in a few months as well, he feels that he has no real attachment to him or any bad things to say about him either. It's just a neutral stance, nothing in particular.
All right. So thank you very much for taking the time to sit down with us. Do you have any last words to say with your fans before we go?
안녕하세요. 저는 한국 나이로 20살 한이석입니다. 아이디는 TSL aLive 쓰고 있고요. 제가 아직 팬이 많이 없어서 팬 관리를 좀 할 줄 모르는데 팬이 많아지면 많아질수록 저도 더 노력하는 선수가 되겠고 저도 뭐 아이디가 그분처럼 뭐 컨셉을 좀 이상한 컨셉 잡기는 그런데 뭐 좋은 컨셉이 나오면 저도 그 컨셉을 잡고 더 열심히 하면서 성적을 내는 좋은 테란으로 남으면은 그걸로도 저는 게임을 계속 하는 걸로 저는 만족하니까 그냥 많은 관심 부탁드리겠습니다.
His name's aLive, 20 years old, Terran player. He doesn't have too many fans at the moment, but he would really appreciate it if he gained more fans, because he really hasn't mastered the art of garnering fans like other pro players have, but he would really appreciate it if you would just support him and be enthused about his games in the future, and that would just push him to become a more proficient pro gamer in the future. Thank you. 감사합니다.